Take my hat off. Check 1, 2. Nice.
Hey folks, we're gonna have Cam Bab over here to your right.
What's the song for you guys?
Did you kind of always know you'd be doing this, Brian? That you'd be a coach? When we were playing here, did you kind of always think
No.
that you'd be doing that? What did
was
you
well
think?
documented. I had no idea I wanted to be a coach. Right?
What did you think you wanted to do after your playing career?
I wanted to do anything but football. And told you how good I was at that. So
you were good at it.
What brought me around?
Yeah,
Well, I lived in Columbus after I was done playing.
Yeah.
And then Coach Meyer asked me to come and not Coach Meyer, my brother did. My brother was here and asked me to come run scout team receiver during bowl prep on the first year I wasn't playing. And of course I said no the first time, but he kept bothering me about it and I thought it'd be kind of funny. And so I did come and, coaching guys up while I was here, and Coach Meyer asked me to be a coach, and I told him no. And then he asked me again in March after December, and I thought it was a good idea.
I remember when you were still playing. Not sure if it was your last year with the Dolphins or first year with the Browns. ESPN did a story on you, and you had owned like a lot of drive-throughs at Ohio. Like, can you get it? And you had so much grit that you were even working at some of them when you needed to.
Yeah, it was off-season. I had nothing else to do in Ohio. You're not playing golf, so I spent all my time in the off-season, which is bizarre, in Ohio, which is usually December, January, February, March, and the worst times of Ohio. But so I'd work it. I enjoy that. I mean, I enjoy stuff outside of football, so
you still
I try to get away. And then, the thought is, it's hard to check in if you never check out. So try to check out every now and then. That way you can check back in.
And before we get to football questions, and you still own all those drive-throughs?
We actually
and stuff?
are in the process of not anymore, as of a couple months. So we have, but that's going to be changing here pretty quickly.
Hey Brian, if you were writing a help book for somebody about how to recruit well, what would be chapter 1?
Chapter 1. I don't know. I think it probably always starts with being yourself. I think at the end of the day, I don't want to trick anybody into doing anything. So if they don't like me, then don't come here. That's fine. But I don't want them to think I'm somebody I'm not, and then it be a scam game. So be true to yourself, and those that appreciate that will pick Ohio State and the Buckeyes and our quarterbacks and our offense and our receiver room, and we'll go down that road. So being true to yourself, I think, is really, really important. It's really easy to gear yourself to others because you have a job you want to get done, and you just got to make sure you're just being true to yourself.
When you look at the results that you've had, it's well documented, and a lot of people have referred to you as the best recruiter in college football, at least from an assistant standpoint. Do you get into a groove of, here's how I'm going to start conversations, here's how I'm going to handle recruitments? Do you have a blueprint or a game plan of a plan of attack? Not that you're going to do the same thing with everybody, but maybe a system, for a lack of a better word, of how you want to approach stuff.
No. I mean, I think we have a system for getting guys in the building and the things you want to cover on the first visit, and the second visit, and the third visit, so we stay organized. But there's no narrative being spun here. I think that I really take a lot of pride the first time I get a young athlete and their parents or kids, family to come in our room. I really try to make sure that they truly understand what we're about, what I'm about. I think if you get a feeling for the coach, it probably gives you a good depiction of what the room probably looks like and how we operate. So I take a lot of pride in that, those first opportunities. But from a blueprint standpoint, no. I mean, I think it's like trying to coach every kid the same way. You shouldn't do that. You could be fair, but it's not going to be the same. Everyone's different. Everyone has different needs. Everyone has different focuses. So your ability to connect with those and identify those, I think, kind of put you on your right path.
Ryan, so many people have talked about the expectation in this wide receiver room. Ryan Day has said that this offense has proved nothing yet. How do you tell these guys every day that you're 0-0 and stats don't exist right now?
Because they don't have any stats. So, I think Jackson does and CJ does, but everyone else outside doesn't. And They know that, but I mean, we don't have to tell them. They were identified as the right young men early in recruiting, and the kind of guys we have on our team, in our receiver room, in our quarterback room, and whatever it is. They all understand that philosophy. It's not about what you've done; it's about what you should do and what you're going to do. So people forget really quick in sports, and the guys know that by now.
What stood out to you the most when you were recruiting Jackson, and where have you kind of seen him develop? I mean, everybody knows he's a great runner, he's great chemistry, but is there something we're not seeing that you've seen him develop?
You guys probably don't get to see how good of a kid he is. A young man. You probably you don't get to interact with him the way that we get to. So you guys just get to see the thing between the lines. At least maybe not you guys. You guys are around to be able to communicate with him and see what kind of young man he is. But that's what everyone doesn't see is these young men and how great they are. It's one thing to have a great athlete. It's another to have a great person. But to have both in the same individual, that's just special. And we have a lot of those guys. And so coming to quote unquote work every day, it isn't work at all. It's a lot of fun, and we're all in kind of the same mission.
He talked a little bit about when he was getting recruited, like getting noticed and by you guys. I mean, so whether it was the opening, what stood out when you first saw him play?
Well, it was way before that. I mean, I think he ended up he became a Buckeye in his junior year, early in his junior year. So it was a combination of a lot of things. Sometimes you just can't put on paper, like you just can't really quantify it. It's a feel. You obviously saw his production. I mean, he was very productive as a junior, but he was even as a sophomore, which we became high on him. Got a chance for him to visit early in his junior year, and I think we had a good connection pretty early. And after that, he kind of developed and continued to grow, which you always kind of hope as a coach. You're trying to identify the right guys, and he became doing everything that we thought he could. And again, as we got to know him more and more and his family, they're awesome people. And that combination is, believe it or not, it's sometimes hard to find, but we've done a really good job of it.
Now that you've been doing this for a little bit, and you've had a couple guys come through here, where do you see guys in your room take that biggest jump from year one to year two, usually?
It's probably everything between the years. Like they think they know how to work, but they really don't. The guys that have the less than that curve, usually do a much better job by their second year. If they know how to work, there's a decent chance at times they're going to find themselves in the field as freshmen. If you're learning how to work and how to play football and digest and apply, that takes time. And there's so many young athletes sometimes that rely on ability, which isn't wrong, but there's so much more that goes. I mean, at the end of the day, every guy in my room, in our team can do the job, can do what they want to do, maybe at different levels, but they can all be potentially NFL players, in my opinion. But it's all about, what you do, how often, your consistency level. Like, guys that just don't make mistakes are really good players. It has nothing to do with, high pointing the ball, at 10 feet in the air. It has nothing to do with it. You rarely see that. There's so much more to football than just the freakish, plays. Those are anomaly. Those are the 1% of 100. So you don't survive or die on those. So again, my point is there's a lot of things to football that don't, incorporate, the freakish talent.
You have a guy like